Hello class, we are now in lesson 11 in the final term of our course, Applied Economics. So our topic for this lecture is about socioeconomic factors affecting business and industry, and we will focus more on production theory. So in lesson 10, we discuss the same topic, but we have this different subtopic. So in lesson 10, we have consumer behavior. And for lesson 11, we will talk about the production theory. So here's the expectation of this lesson. After going through this lesson, you are expected to understand the production theory, identify the various socioeconomic factors affecting business and industry in terms of production, and lastly, explain the importance of production theory in business. And before we proceed to our lesson, we will have a pre-test first. Question number 1, it is a process of combining various inputs to produce an output for consumption. A. Production, B. Consumption, C. Product, or D. Consume. It is a process of combining various inputs to produce an output for consumption. Answer for number 1 is letter B. Consumption. Question number 2, it refers to the product created as a result of the combination of input in the production process. A. Input, B. Output, C. Material, or D. None of the above. It refers to the product created as a result of the combination of input in the production process. Answer for question number 2 is A. Input. Question number 3, it is an equation that shows the maximum output of a commodity that a firm can produce per time with each set of inputs. A. Production schedule, B. Production function, C. Production utility, or D. Production model. It is an equation that shows the maximum output of a commodity that a firm can produce per time with each set of inputs. The answer for number 3 is letter D. Production model. Question number 4, it is a period in which at least one factor of production is considered fixed. A. Short run, B. Medium run, C. Long run, or D. Infinity run. It is a period in which at least one factor of production is considered fixed. Answer for number 4 is letter A. Short run. Question number 5, last number. It is a theory in economics that predicts when the optimal level of capacity is reached. Adding a factor of production will actually result in a smaller increase in output. A. Law of production, B. Law of diminishing production, C. Law of diminishing marginal utility, or D. Law of diminishing marginal returns. Again, it is a theory in economics that predicts when the optional level of capacity is reached. Adding a factor of production will actually result in a smaller increase in output. The answer for question number 5 is letter C. Law of diminishing marginal utility. So count your score, and again, congratulations to those who got the perfect score, 5/5. Now let's proceed to our lesson for this topic. So as you can see here in this picture, we have this input and output. As we put an input here, for example, raw materials or any materials, and it was processed, and it will produce an output. So this is a example of a production. So again, production is a process of combining various inputs. Okay, we put different inputs and then we process it, and it is called production. And after combining various inputs to produce a output. Okay, so this is an example of output. In the input part, it's still a square, and then it will undergo a process, and that is called a production, and it will produce a finished product, circle, or a ball. So it is the act of creating output in the form of commodity or a service that contributes to the utility of individuals. So okay, the term input refers to the resources used to produce goods and services. So these are the examples as an illustration. And for the output, it refers to the product created as a result of the combination in the production process. Okay, so output is the result, the input is the requirements or needed materials, and then it will process. So overall, it is called production. Okay, I hope that it is clear. So now let's proceed to the next slide. We will talk about the production theory. So in the economics, the term production theory explains the principle in which the business has to take decisions on how much of each commodity it sells, and also how much it produces, and how much of raw materials, that is fixed capital, and labor it employs. So it defines the relationship between the price of the commodities and also the production factors on one hand, and also the quantities of these commodities and productive factors that are produced on the other hand. So that is for the production theory. Now let's proceed to the production function. So the production function is the equation that shows the maximum output of a commodity that a firm can produce per time with each set of inputs. So basically, the production analysis is concerned with the analysis in which resources such as uh, land, labor, and capital, which is employed to produce a firm's final product. Okay, so to produce goods, the basic inputs are classified into two divisions. Okay, under the production analysis, there were two divisions or classifications of the basic inputs. So we have fixed inputs and we also have variable inputs. So the fixed inputs are resources that remain constant in the short run. Okay, so the other term or synonym for fixed is constant. Constant. But this called constant is only for a short run. Short run. And for the variable cost, variable inputs, these are the resources which can be changed in the short or long run. So from the word variable or variance, the synonyms also here is change. Okay, so the input will change. It's either short run or long run. Okay, again, for the variable inputs, it will change, okay, the resources, either short run or long run. But for the fixed inputs, it is a constant in a short run only. Okay, and other term also we have here the short run. Okay, as I mentioned a while ago. So the short run is the period in which at least one factor of production is considered fixed. So usually the capital, okay, the capital. So the capital is considered constant in the short run. Okay, so capital is one example of fixed input is in which it is a constant and it is constant in the short run. And also in the long run, all factors of productions are variable. While in the very long run, all factors of productions are variable and research and development are possible. So the economic models and also the theories are not dynamic, but they are fixed to a period. So economists base their models on the short run or a long run. So the difference in these periods is the ability to change the factors of production given the time. So for example, in the short run, it is impossible to set up a new factory, but more plausible to hire new workers. Okay, so because it is not easy to build up a new factory in a short period of time, but we can hire new workers in a short period of time. So it shows that in the period, the current output can change with one factor, while in the long run, you can make any changes. Okay, so we are done with the slide about the production theory. Now we will proceed to the law of diminishing marginal returns. So in more variable factors, again, the other term for a variable, because the variable inputs is one also of the example of the resources that can be changed. So the variable inputs, again, the synonyms for here is change. Okay, so if more variable factors of productions are used in a combination with a fixed factor of the production, the marginal product, and then the average product will eventually decline. Okay, yeah, the word decline, it means that it will go down. So the law of diminishing, from the word diminish, okay, it will decline. So the law of diminishing marginal returns determines the behavior of output in the short run. So again, the law of diminishing marginal returns is a theory in the economics that can able to predict, okay, that can able to predict when the optimal level of capacity is reached, and adding a factor of production will actually result in the smaller increase in output. Again, I repeat, the law of diminishing marginal returns is a theory in the economics that predicts, so they can able to predict the future of the business when the optimal level of capacity is reached. Okay, the moment that you have reached the level of capacity, it will add a factor or production will actually result in a smaller increase in output. Now let's proceed to the three forms to measure output produced. Okay, again here, if we will add a factor or production, will actually result in a smaller increase in outputs. So there are three forms to measure the output produced. So the first one is the total product, or the TP. It is the combined production of several units of a given input. Okay, it is the combined of production of several units. The second form is the marginal product. The marginal product is the additional output produced by an additional unit of the input and is equal to the change in total product or change in input. It means that there is an original numbers of output or input produced, but for the marginal product, there is additional output produced by an additional unit of the input and is equal to the change in total product or change in input. Okay, and the last one, the third one, is the average product. The average product is refers to the average contribution per unit of input and is equal to TP over I. So we will talk first about the total product. Again, the definition of the total product, it is the combined production of several units of a given input. Okay, so think of the pizza restaurants, and then they have these tables, they also have chairs and ovens. So this is the fixed factor of production because we have these tables, chairs, and ovens. So with no workers, the output is zero because the employees or the workers are the one to process or to produce the products. So with one worker, the output is X units. Okay, and the worker takes orders, and not just taking orders but also makes pizzas, and also they will clean tables and they will serve the bill. So if there are two workers, the second workers can do the same work as the first, and the output will be doubled. Okay, so they can specialize and further increase the output. Okay, so that is for the total production. This L1 is talks about the labor one for the worker. Okay, again you can see here the total product. We have the tables, the chairs, the ovens, but we don't have a worker. So it means that our production or will produce zero. The moment that we have this one worker, it will increase our production. If we have this more or additional one worker, it will increase the total production. Okay, now let's proceed to the marginal product. Again, the definition of the marginal product is the additional output produced by an additional unit of the input and is equal to change in total product or change in input. It means that the total products, if we will add inputs, it means that there is also additional output produced. Okay, so example for the marginal products, when one more chef has added the production, it increases to X units. Okay, and when the second worker has hired, the output increases by more than 2x units. So in this figure, you can see that the output will increase at an increasing rate till the L1 or labor 1 is the marginal product is rising till L1. Okay, and then given a fixed input, as the managers of pizza restaurants add extra workers, the total output increases, however, at the decreasing rate. So when the manager of the store hires more workers, each new worker will add less to the output, and the marginal product begins to fall from L1 to L2, and after L2, the contribution of newly hired workers is negative. So if a fixed capital, which has a limited capacity, can cater up to 5 workers, hiring more than 5 workers will be useless. So no firms will hire beyond L2 where there is too much of labor to fix a capital. So I'm sorry for showing this graph. It's incorrect. So we have this in the previous slide. Okay, for the marginal product. Okay, marginal product, marginal product. Also, this is a marginal product, but we also have this illustration here. So again, we have this labor one, we have the increasing of our production. But the problem also here, if we will add additional labor, and then we only have this few numbers of input, so it will have this negative impact with our income or in our business. Okay, so another thing here, if we have this increasing marginal product, at rising rate. Okay, it rises the rate of the productions. Increasing marginal products at falling rate. So we reach already the highest peak here. And then what will happen if there's an increasing marginal product? Okay. Again, there is a phenomenon happen here when we have this hiring more employees or more workers we'd only have lesser inputs. Okay, so that is really important when we become a manager. So we need to consider hiring employees. We need to add more employees if we need to have to produce more products. If we are not going to produce more products, it is not ideal to hire more employees because it will add up to our expenses. Okay, so that is for marginal products. Now let's proceed to the average product. Again, the definition of average product, it refers to the average contribution per unit of input and is equal. Okay, so take note to take that if the marginal product is greater than the average product, then the average product will rise. So if the marginal product is less than the average product, then the average product will drop as well. Okay. So if the marginal product is equal to the average product, then the average product will be at its maximum. So now let's proceed to the significance of production theory in business. What is the importance of this production theory in the business? So as we already learned, the business is engaged in providing goods and services to customers to make it profits. So although some business are engaged in retailing goods that they bought from producers, so there are also many businesses produce goods that they sell. So it is therefore important for the business proprietors to be aware of the production behavior that will maximize output within limited quantities of inputs available. So this turn will help maximize profits for the enterprise. Okay, so it is really important that uh, as a manager in the future, you can able to study the inputs, the raw materials, the things that we need to, or I mean the things that we require in order to process or to produce the output. So there is also a importance of balancing the number of laborers or workers to produce the products. For example, here, if you will hire 4 employees and we only have this limited number of input, so it is a waste of money to hire these employees. Not just money, but also time, efforts, because we need to train these employees. So there are certain factors that we need to consider in producing a certain products. Okay, so this is the importance of this lesson number 11. So we are done and let's proceed to the valuing part and we need to reflect on this. Knowledge is our most powerful engine of production, according to Alfred Marshall.